Our company, Procon Pacific, is more focused on export manufacturing from China to North America. So for us, there's absolutely no effect thus far on the potential tariff war between China and the United States because our product was never made in the United States. The only thing I'm really concerned about at this point with respect to the potential tariff war would be a decreased demand for agricultural, chemical, and mining products from North America, US and Canada both, because the more that a Dow or a DuPont or an ADM or a Cargill exports their commodities in our bags to China, the more demand there is for our bags. The less they export to China, the less demand for our bags. Already within China, if you go back 10 years ago, we were procuring about 100% of our bags from southern Jiangsu province like Changzhou. And about 5 years ago, because of capacity issues, because of labor cost increases, we had to shift some of our production up to Shandong, in the Zibo, Shouguang, even the Qingdao Jiaozhou area, as well as later on to Chongqing. So we've diversified within China to take advantage of capacity and labor cost differentials within China. More recently, as costs now are increasing within China, I'm predicting by the end of this year we'll be half outside of China for production, half within China. And that half outside of China will be about 40% coming from India and about 10% from Vietnam, again with 50% remaining in China. That's the trend I see happening. There's two different things that's in my mind. One, if I'm going to invest new money, where's it going to go? Frankly, it's probably going to go to India. I see our growth curve dramatically increasing there. And if anything, it's quite challenging for both myself and my staff here in Shanghai to manage the vendors in India and Vietnam. Thus, eventually, I'm going to have to probably set up an office, probably in Mumbai. My biggest concern in the short term, though, is my own staff here in Shanghai. I've now trained them to be able to comfortably handle the outside of China vendors using English as a common lingua franca, if you will, and they're comfortable with that. There are issues with not being in country, though. Here in China, my staff are able to jump on a train or a plane and be at a factory in 3 hours. We're able to monitor the cost structure of our factories. We can walk the factory floors to count sewing workers to see if they're falling behind. We can do work in process, semi-finished product inventory checks. It's a lot harder to do that remotely. So thus I'm spending more and more money to third-party control, quality control and order expediters in these countries. Eventually, again, I might have to move some of that work over to those countries, which could be at the negative impact to our Chinese office. And I worry, especially as costs here keep increasing. We do something here, both in Jiangsu and in Shandong, even including Chongqing for that matter. We call it multi-vendor consolidation. Essentially, suppose I have 5 vendors in Shandong province, literally as far west as Zibo, as far east as Jiaozhou. I might take an empty 40-foot high cube container, C container, load 12 pallets at factory A, then truck that container to factory B, load 30 more pallets, and go to factory C, load 2 more pallets, and then take it into Qingdao port. The same model can be replicated in Jiangsu over Shanghai port. In India, they don't have the sophistication yet there within their customs department, especially amongst states or provinces, to allow for a container to be picked up by more than one factory. That's an advantage we have over here. Also, the cost control and the semi-finished product inspections that we can do here to a much tighter degree it's something that we're able to do on a more sophisticated level here. We're not able to do that yet in India. The last 2 things we monitor very, very closely on behalf of our vendors here is their labor costs, their commodity costs. For example, if they're buying polypropylene or polyethylene, we know exactly what they're paying for that product, for that commodity per metric ton. And for our product, that's about 40% of the cost. So knowing their cost structure allows us to talk very frankly and transparently with their factories here to make sure A, they're not squeezed, and B, they're not taking advantage of us as costs go up and down and exchange rates change.